Oh, I have to hit the go live button right here. Oh, well, would
on
you
your
look at that?
on your board?
Yeah, I could just click it in the little software right here. Uh,
Oh man,
yeah,
I do like that.
yeah, it's nice when things kind of work out that way.
You
But
just
you
you
know
just
this.
expect that. Expect the smoothness.
Yeah, well, the smoothness was met with a little bit of resistance, right? Because like I had to go to YouTube and then I couldn't click the go live button. I was like, well, how come it's disabled? But there's another button over here. But
Gotcha.
we're early, um, and at about 8, like I said, I'll roll the intro. But for anybody who's kind of just chilling in here, if they are, I don't know, and they get to hear us chat for a little bit. So, what are your just initial thoughts on happenings around the league over the last? I mean, I guess even just this weekend, right? Like a whole bunch of stuff went on this weekend between. I mean, today Russell Wilson getting unofficially traded because he has to agree, and then Aaron Rodgers apparently signing a new deal worth $200 million. Uh, Dalton Schultz getting the franchise tag. They're saying they're going to cut Cooper. They're saying that they're telling Tank that he's either got to take less money or they're going to cut him too. And uh, they're prioritizing re-signing Michael Gallup, and who knows what's going on with Randy Gregory. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm kind of just over it. So, how do you? What do you feel about all this? Because I need somebody to kind of talk me off the ledge here because I'm not particularly happy.
Yeah, I'm not happy either. I was telling a coworker of mine today, like, been what you too, probably. You've been watching Cowboys for a long time. Granted, not at the same um fandom as me. I think you've said
Right.
that you're not
Mm-hmm.
like a Cowboys fan, but you're a Cowboys watcher. You watch games. You've seen enough games. Um,
One might
I
say too many games.
too many games. I I like him. I don't think I'm a little. I don't think I've ever been this distraught as cutting Cooper. I'm just gonna stick on that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've seen cuts, right? I mean, just what this year, Jalen Smith. Like you can go back to coaching eras and cuts. Terrell Owens. I'm just naming kind of ones that come into my head, but I don't know. This Cooper one hurts because I now, and I thank you for this. I'm trying to like train my brain right as a muscle, you would say, to ask these questions more as in my life/job, but also in your question. Is it now because Dez gets cut right because he can only run a nine or a slant, or he can't behave, or whatever, insert X
Mm-hmm.
reason. You go get Cooper, you spend a first round, you he behaves. He doesn't really cause any distraction. He's a route technician. You know what I mean? Like I now ask the bigger question to get back what I was saying. Is there something deeper going on?
I
Like
think so.
is Cooper not one of the boys? You know what I mean? And just in layman's term, is he the odd man out?
I think I really think that it's I think the reluctance or refusal to get the vaccine, I think, has rubbed Jerry the wrong way. I think that probably has a lot to do with it because he was very, I don't want to say adamant, but he was pretty much pushing for the team to be like, hey, let's just get us out the way. So, like, this is one thing that we don't have to deal with.
And Cooper was like, nah, not getting it.
Yeah. And he wanted to do, and he missed games. He missed game time because of it.
Yeah, because of the protocol.
So I think that's part of it. I think that maybe is like what has ultimately been the straw that broke the camel's back because I think they were kind of contemplating moving on from him anyway because of how much they were paying him. Now there's a whole nother like as I've been on the on the internet, just kind of reading like what people are saying, and then it starts to split, right? On like, you start talking about Amari Cooper, and then some people are starting to talk about like his production and like the Cowboys offense, and like, is it his fault or is it the offense's fault? You know, all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing. And then they got the other thing of, they're like, you know, you're cutting a guy who essentially took a pay cut to stay here. Like, he's one of the few guys that you have on your roster that is a star, for lack of a better term, that did not leave you to go chase the bag. Because remember, football team threw a whole bunch of money at him to leave to go to Washington. And he was like, "No, I want to be a Cowboy. I want to finish my career here. I want to do this. I want to do that." And then they're like, well, you're out now. And I think that is kind of where, that's just one more layer on like why it's kind of so upsetting to me, because you finally have a guy that wasn't even really entertaining free agency to begin with. Never been in trouble. Does all the things you ask him to do. And then you likely to cut him and Demarcus Ware, and then you give your franchise tag over to Dalton Schultz, who, I mean, in a vacuum, I can be swayed that in a vacuum that's not a bad decision. Like, if you had everybody else locked up and you're like, "Well, we just don't want Dalton Schultz to go on free agency," then I get it. But in this case, I feel like bad contract management has led to like this storm of things that's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, and to go on to the evidence of what I tweeted at you, I think last week. That QBR connection with Dak and Dalton Schultz is the best in the NFL, and the others are to number one receivers to the other quarterbacks. That's alarming.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think it's personal? Because I follow Dez, right? Dez Bryant. He's got conspiracy theories left and right, and or just him trash talking whoever he's playing on Madden. So he's just kind of all over the place on Twitter. But like he's on the conspiracy theory side that it's on purpose, that Amari didn't have a good year on purpose, so that it would be justified. It would be justified to not have him. So, and then to not pay him. Like, look, why are we going to pay you? You're the third best guy on our team. Granted, that's Dez, not anybody from the Cowboys org, but that's why I asked you earlier. Like I just feel like there's something more afoot. Like, it just doesn't seem just he just happens to be the third guy on our offense. I think that is true, but I don't know. I just feel like there's got to be more. Like, you just your dad always asks me questions as a quarterback. All right, well, I guess I don't see how I'm not looking at him third in line. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. So Justin is saying, keep Amari, release Zeke. Sorry. And the Cowboys loss would be Belichick's game. Pairing Mac Jones with Amari would be a dream marriage. Yeah. I mean, shoot, the Patriots ain't got no receivers, right? They got N'Keal Henry. What is his name?
N'Keal Harry. Yeah, who I was really wrong about. I'll admit that.
I mean, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, this is, I guess, what I expected him to be. I didn't think he's the number one receiver because he plays for the Patriots. I mean, if he played for, I don't know, name a team.
I don't even think he'd be the best person on the Raiders.
Well, I mean, Darren Waller's there, right?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, but like, he's just got that size. Like, you look at him, but then,
yeah,
I think every other person goes above him on the depth chart. But, oh yeah, Cooper and Tua. I'm all for an Alabama reunion somewhere. I'm all about it. Just not the Eagles. No offense to Jalen Hurts, but I can't see that. I can't see that. Not that I don't want Hurts to succeed. I don't want to see that.
You don't want to see him succeed at the Eagles. Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
Yes, I'll be honest on that one.
That's fair. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's anybody that has been more critical than I've been about Michael Gallup. And just like the thought that you are going to cut Amari Cooper to save $16 million and then go pay somewhere close to $15 million a year for this dude that just came off an ACL tear, who I didn't really like. I was like, hey, you should probably just go ahead and trade this dude to begin with. Like, it just doesn't sit right with me. I just don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, yeah. And and nothing against Gallup. I don't even think he's a bad dude. I thought it was a steal at where they drafted him. But, like, aren't you just choosing Michael Gallup, who's a more behaved Des Bryant, over Amari Cooper? I think you called him that, a poor man's Des Bryant.
Actually, no, I
might be stealing your quote. I should have asked you that.
Yeah, I did call somebody a poor man's Des Bryant, but I was talking about a different receiver.
Oh.
Yeah, I was talking about Michael Thomas.
Oh. I guess I just don't see where Michael Gallup is used.
Well, I don't either.
Other than his jump ball, I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Like, that's why you got rid of Dez.
And I had said this. I said this on that other show, right, where I was saying, like, hey, look, Michael Gallup is exceptional at deep 50-50 balls. He is, well, maybe not exceptional. Megatron's exceptional. Michael Gallup is probably better than average. I'm not going to put him up there with like Julio in his prime and the rest of those guys. But, you know, he's the guy where it's like, look, it's 4th and 27. We're throwing it deep and Michael Gallup just go get it. But I was also saying that, like, Dak's throwing that ball out of bounds anyway. Like, it's not going where it's supposed to be going. It's just the way this offense works. You need a big chunk of yards. We're trying to throw a 9 route on the sideline, and it ends up being an uncatchable ball to start with. So it didn't matter who you had out there. They wasn't coming down with that. So we got some more things. Justin Riley says that he agrees that Cooper is third guy by design. He also says that N'Keal Harry is overrated, born as the best receiver on the Patriots. And James Knox says Coop is coming to DC. He's the resident. What are they? The Commanders now? The Commies. He's a resident Commies fan. I mean, he's probably right. I mean, they wanted him before, and Cooper told him no, but
he'd go now.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to take the bag now, right? Like, go get your money.
And stick it to the Cowboys twice a year. I mean, that's how all these signings go, isn't it? You go to division rival and...
Yeah. Well, it's 8:01, so we gotta let's roll the intro real quick, and then we'll get back into it.
All right.
All right. I see there's the number has gone up since when we first started recording or streaming. So this show is going to be all about the Cowboys. Really, I mean, this is really the NFL show here. We're actually going to have our regularly. Wow, that is a word that I struggle to say all the time. Regularly scheduled show next or tomorrow with Wimp Sanderson, former Alabama basketball coach. So we will talk with him tomorrow at 8. We're also kind of planning a little bit of something to talk about Calvin Ridley and the NFL and the whole gambling thing. That won't be covered today, so check that out for tomorrow sometime before 8. Today, we're talking about Amari Cooper probably getting cut. Demarcus Lawrence probably getting cut. Michael Gallup probably being re-signed, or at least the priority is to re-sign him. Randy Gregory trying to get re-signed, and Dalton Schultz getting the franchise tag. We're also going to talk about this blockbuster trade with Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos, and I'm sure we'll get into Aaron Rodgers and his new deal. Justin Riley, love the pre-show concept. Thank you. That was a brainchild of mine. How this came about, I was just telling him, even before that, how this came about is when we have these guests, our guests kind of show up 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes before, and we're just kind of sitting in the chat just talking. And I realized that, I get to hear a lot of things that, like just on candid conversation that our audience doesn't get to hear. So what I've been starting to do is just hit the stream early while we're just talking before we do our show per se, and then we'll roll the intro when we get ready. So appreciate you. I'm glad you noticed. So for those of you that are in here now, check us out. Just hit the bell, as the YouTube streamers like to say. Hit the bell so when we go live 15 minutes early, you can catch all the stuff like Javier Arenas telling us how he didn't even know Alabama had a football program until like 2003 or whatever it was, whenever he came in. So where were we at? We were talking about Amari Cooper probably going to DC or the Ravens. The Ravens could use him. I mean, shoot, there's a lot of teams out here that could use Amari Cooper, including the Cowboys. But I don't really understand the thought process behind the whole thing, and I'm really trying to get it. And I just feel like Dalton Schultz, although amazing production, you showed me the thing. I probably should have pulled that up and admittedly I didn't do very much show prep today. I think I messaged you at like 5:00 and was like, "Hey, you want to go live in 3 hours?" But the production is there, but I just feel like there are many other tight ends that can do this. And I've never, like, if you would have given me 10 guesses, Dalton Schultz would have not been the guy that I would have guessed that you would have franchise tagged. Like, is he really going to, is he really going to command that much on the free agent market? I mean, I know a lot of people think yes, but like, really? I mean, I feel like, you can go get Njoku from the Browns and he can have that kind of production. That dude from the Chargers, was it Hunter Henry? I guess he plays for the Chargers now. He wasn't always playing for the Chargers, but like, I feel like there's just so many tight ends out there that are even backup tight ends.
Or draft one. I mean, you could get. I saw a tweet earlier saying that we franchise tag a tight end whose best blocking ability is blocking people on Twitter. I guess he doesn't like the criticism. I know, all jokes aside, I mean, like he doesn't. He's not a George Kittle when it comes to blocking. So, like, what are we missing? A receiving tight end?
Well, I mean, I didn't even think about the blocking aspect because, like, for real though, like we've got a problem up front too, right? Like we've been talking about the offensive line, and it's like, hey, you're not contributing to that.
He's not a benefit. Like you said, we're a little shaky. I don't know why people still call us the best O-line. So his added bonus on the field isn't blocking. You know what I mean? So it's there's no factor in on his. Granted, don't take me as I'm just sitting here roasting this dude. I'm just saying like you said on the thing. I tried to find it just now so I could read it. But why is him and Dak the best connection QBR wise? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all the rest on that little graphic was QB to number one receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, good for him, but sad for our offense. I think is what you said. Like,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the problem with the offense. Justin's also saying it'd be good to see the Cowboys go after O.J. Howard. He's underused at Tampa and has a lot to offer. I agree with that. O.J. Howard
sure.
is a much more athletic tight end than Dalton Schultz, but it's so weird because I feel like the Cowboys are in this. They're in this right now. They're in this problem because of them overvaluing players and giving them these massive contracts. This is how you get into cap problems, right? So then what do? You go franchise tag your tight end for 10 mil and you probably overvalue how much that tight end is really worth. I mean, I don't
It's just the
I don't
real
understand how like you make this thing, you trade a first rounder to go get Amari, right?
But yeah, I got you.
And then you go and you say CeeDee Lamb is the best player available. So you go draft another receiver. And somehow your leading receiver is still a tight end.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
what are we doing?
Lamb. Like you could make the argument if CeeDee Lamb was on that graphic or CeeDee Lamb was the leading man. But it's not. CeeDee Lamb is also losing to Dalton Schultz. And I think we said this earlier, or at least me and you personally. You know how I was saying that like maybe Jerry Jones just didn't draft like football players. Like when you look at guys like Derrick Henry, they're football players, and maybe that's just the SEC or Alabama product. But Amari Cooper is a football player.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to CeeDee Lamb, but again, Justin Jefferson went like what 2 or 3 picks after CeeDee Lamb, so clearly somebody wasn't watching the SEC that year. But I digress. My whole point is it's starting to realize, and you can go all the way back to the 90s, is Jerry Jones just the spoiled kid playing with his action figures? Are we not running a football team here? I truly believe Dalton Schultz was franchise tag because he didn't want nobody else to play with him. Well, I don't want to lose him, but I don't want to like keep him sealed up in a package because I do want to play with him, but I don't want no one else to play with him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a classic Jones move. I'm gonna franchise tag him, so it's in his mind the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I agree. And Justin saying they give 88 to CeeDee Lamb. Still don't see how they do that. And we had talked about this in our therapy session with Darian, right? And we were saying like, hey, there's a whole bunch of dudes that end up becoming stars in this league and like forces because somebody along the way doubted them, right? And somebody told them they couldn't do something or whatever. And then you got guys like CeeDee Lamb who was playing in the Big 12 and shows up at the Cowboys, and now without even being on the field yet is the heir apparent, right? Like that's the guy. They give him 88, and I don't know. I don't know why we do this. I mean, I know why we do this, but I don't understand like why we continue to do this. Because I also feel like CeeDee Lamb probably doesn't actually even want to wear 88. Like I feel like he just felt pressured by Michael Irvin to do so. I think CeeDee Lamb would much rather just wear 2.
And if you, dude, I don't know how Amari Cooper feels about it, but why is it because Amari wasn't drafted? That's blasphemy.
Probably.
Because I mean, you'd think that if anybody had seeing eyes, you'd see that Amari deserves 88 more than anybody else on that team. But again, that's what I'm saying. Like we're playing with action figures here. Is that really the reason? And if so, we ain't ever going to win a Super Bowl because of reasons like that. Because Jerry only gives people 88 unless they're drafted. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now it's or he hires a head coach but says you can fire everybody except my boy Kellen. All these reasons are like now why we don't win football games. We're good against bad teams, mediocre against good teams, and it's been the same story for a long time, a very long time.
You know. All right, let's move on off of Amari Cooper because we got a few other Cowboys we gotta decide what we would actually deal with. Demarcus Lawrence. What your GM now, your GM and owner, what do you do? What do you do with him?
Bro, I would have moved. If anybody needs to move off somebody, I thought that would have been the first person.
I agree.
I think all the way to the day he gave himself, I don't know if this is true, but giving himself the nickname Tank. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know where it came from. I'm still questioning where Hot Boys came from.
I don't know. And I'm not saying, again, also he's not trash. I'm just trying to like figure out like matching the check the boxes for where the decisions are made to drop other people. They're not the same boxes being checked or unchecked, however what list you want to make for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like there's definitely a difference in what's going on as far as evaluating players. The old Bill Parcells quote, treat everybody differently, but treat everybody fairly, does not apply with whoever is making personnel decisions. And I know we know who it is, but I'm just throwing that blanket statement. Whoever is the final, or whoever's in the meeting where they talk, is not the same across the board. Because like you said, I know we're going back to Cooper, but whatever reason you want to say, it ain't him on the field because he delivers. Whereas Tank, does he just kiss Jerry Jones' ass all day? Does he kiss Kellen Moore's ass? Because on the field, I don't know where he's at sometimes.
I agree. I mean, the dude. How many? Let me just look. Because I want to see. Because at the end of the day, he plays defensive end, right?
Yeah.
And defensive end basically like has turned, and in this version of the NFL has turned into, do you sack the quarterback? Yes or no? Find me another defensive end that doesn't get to the quarterback that we're like, oh man, you got to watch this guy. Like TJ Watt's getting to the quarterback, Nick Bosa's getting to the quarterback, Cam Jordan's getting to the quarterback. Shoot, Aaron Donald don't even play defensive end, and he's getting to the quarterback.
He gets to the quarterback, yeah.
So, over the last, I'll give him 4 seasons, just so it doesn't sound as bad. Last season, he had 3 sacks. The season before that, he had 6.5 sacks. The season before that, he had 5 sacks. The season before that, he had 10.5 sacks.
Jesus, it's been that long since his double-digit sack year?
Yes, 2018 was his double-digit sack year, and I'm almost positive that 2018 was his contract year.
Yeah, it was because he hit the double-digit sack, and then they signed him because everyone was like, oh, look, if he could just stay healthy, that's what he does.
Well,
but Jalen Smith gets cut. Again, I'm just using the criteria.
Yeah, now Jalen Smith's a little bit different, right? Because Jalen Smith moved on quickly, and then was moved on quickly, and then was moved on quickly. So I guess they ended up getting that one right. But going back to the whole Hot Boys thing, like who has ever been afraid of the Cowboys' defensive line? Like, when was the last time somebody was afraid of the Cowboys' defensive line? The 90s?
The 90s. And if anybody had any stroke of fear this year, it wasn't the D-line. It was probably 11.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was probably just, hey, where's 11? Make sure, hey, you got him. You got me? All right, cool. Like, that's the extent of what fear was going on.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would probably move on from, if there's anybody that you can cut for cap reasons, if you're going to have cap casualties, I think Demarcus Lawrence is the one that I would go after. So, now let's talk about Michael Gallup. How much are you actually going to pay him? They're prioritizing him clearly over anybody else. Yeah, when Charles Haley was there, is Justin Riley's answer of
It's true.
when
That's what we
was the
said.
last time they were. Yeah, so
The last time the team was respected, by the way, as well. Just that little nugget. You know, it's a shame.
oh, Realism Sports Talk is in the building. Glad you can join us with James Knox and Justin Riley. We appreciate it. We're just doing a little Cowboys venting. I'm really just over what I'm seeing from the Cowboys right now. I just don't feel good. I don't feel like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. I'm trying to walk this thin line, right? Because I've always said, I've said that receivers are kind of like a dime a dozen. Like, yeah, there are your top-notch receivers, your Justin Jeffersons, probably your Jamar Chase, Julio at the time, DK Metcalf. Like, those guys, they're just different. But then I feel like once you get out of that top tier, from top to bottom, the receivers are pretty close. Mm-hmm. Like, you can just grab 3 and you're all right. I mean, no offense to Justin Riley's or Ravens, but like, they ain't got no receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fine. You got the Bills have Stephon Diggs and
the GOAT, Gabriel Davis.
Right, Gabriel Davis. Who just all of a sudden has 4 touchdowns in the wildest game of the season. And so Realism Sports Talk says Gallup may be better than Cooper. Watch, difference maker. I'm you're gonna have to show me something, because I'm still saying that if you had to pay somebody money between Gallup and Cedric Wilson, give me Cedric Wilson any day of the week.
But like big moments is a pretty broad term. Are we meaning like just the one in few playoff games we get to every other year, or like game on the line type stuff? Because didn't Cooper have like 0 drops this year, or had maybe 1? I mean, he didn't have any errors as far as when the ball was thrown to him. Most of the time he's open, but like I can remember plenty of times where Lamb was open and drops it. He drops it quite a bit.
Yeah, he does. He was Lamb was looking like Jamar Chase was looking in the preseason.
Or how it could have all been just a foil. How he says he looked in the preseason.
No. Wilson is not gone. My statement was basically saying that I've been saying basically for the past 2 years that we should get return on Gallup and just use Cedric Wilson, because I don't think our offense missed a beat passing wise once Michael Gallup got hurt. Some would argue
it looked a little bit more efficient with him in the slot.
With Cedric in the slot? I think so. I think he just fits the offense better.
Well, I benefited off fantasy, and I can tell you I got like 20, 28, 25 plus points. I mean, I know that's just fantasy football, but he clearly does what he's supposed to do in that role, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and of course we keep getting back to Amari Cooper, but like it's
because it hurts, JT. It hurts.
This season he had, I mean, one of those guys is a rookie. Jamar Chase was a rookie, but Jamar Chase also ended up balling at the right now. Yeah, I mean, today, give me Jamar Chase over CD. Yes, right now. I mean, Cooper's numbers dropped because his targets dropped. His targets were the same as the tight ends, which was not very far from CD, which is where the whole thing is mind-boggling to me. Is just you come into the season with Blake Jarwin being like the guy. He ends up getting hurt, and then like suddenly there are no more balls to go around except to the tight end. And I think that's really speaks to just like where our offense is as a whole, that
it's like they're still trying to like run it through Witten, so to speak, and everyone else is just splitting targets. Like you just kind of fall where you fall. If you get 7+, cool, good matchup. If you get 3, sorry, man, we'll try again next Sunday. But it's almost like a guarantee. Hey, hit Dalton. He's there over the middle. You know, they love running those over the ball routes. Dalton Schultz is always open, like Witten was. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but like we've been talking about, whether we're at the Growler, whether we're like this, or just on the phone, you bring him in, you spend a first-round pick, you give him that money. He doesn't go to Washington for the bag. You don't treat him like a number one, though. Mm-hmm. That's where I ask the question: Is it on purpose?
Right, and I don't know this. So the root of the debate comes in with this question: so much money, is it worth it? Now, here's my stance on it. You already decided to pay him that money. It's not like he's out of contract and he's asking for that money, and then you decide, never mind, you can walk. It is 2 years ago we decided that you were worth that. Then all of a sudden, you know, you had 2 1,100-yard seasons. Then all of a sudden, we stopped throwing you the ball. And now we want to say, never mind. We're over the cap now, so you got to go. And that is kind of where I'm like, to me, that ain't right. This is the wrong cap casualty, I think. This is where, you know, we kind of look to Tank Lawrence and you're like, all right, if somebody's got to go, maybe it's him, or I don't know, maybe Zeke. I still don't think it's Zeke's fault. I still think it's because that offensive line isn't in what everybody said it was.
Look at like where the like I was saying earlier, the boxes are being checked. Tank was asked to take a pay cut.
Yeah, Cooper wasn't asked to take no pay cut.
Yeah, so see the difference. Like that's why I say there's mutiny afoot, so to speak. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like why wasn't Cooper asked? Not that whatever the reason. I'm just saying like nothing is the same across the board. And you know what? I don't want to see Cooper go. I don't want to see him go. I like him. But you know what? I hope he goes somewhere and balls out. Like to be serious, man. Like mm-hmm. I don't want to pay him and keep him, and we don't use him. I will say that. As much as I want him,
fair.
I also don't want to pay him and keep him because he's too good. I'd rather him go to Mac Jones. Big, friggin'. I'm gonna watch Alabama football this year anyway. So guess who wins? Me. I win. So I'm gonna win no matter what. I just want him to win here. But
yeah. Yeah. I mean, long term, I hope it works out. I don't feel like that Dalton Schultz is a top 5 tight end. So I don't know why the franchise tag is, you know, the way to go. I mean, and some people have said, well, it's because they're actually trying to make a long-term deal before July 15th and they just don't want him to test the market. But I also feel like if you're telling me that you don't think he's a top 5 tight end and you franchise tag him, then you've already set the floor, right? How are you going to come back to this dude and be like, yeah, we franchise tag you at 10 mil, but we actually want your average to be less than that? Like, and then if I'm Dalton Schultz, I'm like, look, man, we're going to do this franchise tag thing. You're going to pay me my 10 mil and then I'm a walk when we can. Like, cause that ain't right either. Yeah. It says Dallas franchise tag the tight end. That's how potent the offense can be. Well, I mean, yeah, but it ain't. That's the problem. The fact that you have to tag your franchise, or that you have to franchise tag your tight end, I think is the entire problem to begin with. Like, you know, Green Bay ain't franchise tagging their tight ends. They're franchise tagging their quarterbacks and their one receiver they got. Like, I mean, if you're gonna franchise tag somebody in your tight end, your name better be Travis Kelce or George Kittle.
Well, it's just like on the whole, like it's a placeholder, but it's a very, I don't want to say prestigious, important placeholder. You only get one franchise tag.
Yep.
So you know you need to use it in situations where, like when we used it for Dez, they couldn't come to an agreement for a little bit. Like it was
Kirk Cousins of contracts.
Or even like Kirk when he got that one in Washington, they were still trying to figure out is this backup really better than RG3? I get it, but those are moments where I said it earlier, I just feel like I don't really think it's needed. It's just kind of like, well, I don't want you to go nowhere else, but I like you. I just don't want you to leave though. I don't know how much I like you yet, and that's just for me a very, I don't know, lackadaisical reason to use the franchise tag, right? I mean.
Yeah. Well, let's move forward. Let's talk about Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos.
Plan B, Denver Broncos Plan B option, right. which I don't hate. I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan, so I'm not hating on their Plan B.
So I gotta scroll back and find Justin Riley's comment. He said, "Man, never saw Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. Someone other than Elway must have pulled the trigger. Jerry Jeudy is about to go off." I want to focus on that second sentence. Someone other than Elway must have pulled the trigger. Gotta be, right? Gotta be.
Well, you don't think that's Elway's MO, though? He would have did that. You don't think he whispered into who did he step down and whoever replaced him? You don't think Elway's like, come on, we need a QB. Look what I did with Peyton. You don't think that was whispered?
I mean, maybe. I just feel like it wasn't his. I feel that it wasn't his idea, right? Because like his track of quarterbacks is Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock,
his track of quarterbacks of drafted quarterbacks.
True. I mean, I guess maybe we'll see. I think. Do you think they gave up too much?
I think they looked at what the Rams did. I think a lot of teams are looking at what the Rams did.
I think a lot of teams should look at what the Rams did.
And I think that's going to be, I'll admit, I laugh. I still laugh at that process. I know I'm the one being laughed at because they just won the Super Bowl. I just wouldn't do it. You asked me earlier, my GM hat. I wouldn't give up all that much because I value the draft. But I bet a lot of teams now are going to not laugh at that anymore, and they're going to be like, bro, look at our defense. Our defense is pretty good. We're not great, but we're pretty good. We just need an offense that can like
do something.
Yeah, just score more than 17. You
know. Question is, who wins that division, and then I'll give you my thoughts on like draft process and making moves in that way.
Dude, man, it's going to be exciting, but. You know what? I like Russell. I'm gonna have to go with Denver just because. But I also like Pat Surtain back there. I just like what Denver does. I'm a Russell guy. I don't hate any other ones. I like Herbert too. Don't hate any other of the other teams. I just feel like, I don't know. It's just reminiscent of what they did before when they grabbed Peyton. Only I just think this defense might be a little scarier on the DB side of the ball. I think. Just how I feel.
Well. Until I'm not gonna sway off the Chiefs until the Chiefs show me that they're not a real team. You know what I mean? Like the Chiefs, even when they look bad, they end up not being that bad.
That's just a
team that knows how to win.
No, you're right. Just to stay on that though, since we're on this division anyway, I have a good friend of my boy Frankie in Belgium. He loves the Chiefs, and he's always sending me these. Every team has their own little fan guys on YouTube, and I don't know if things might be coming. I'd like to see how they bounce back from that second half playoff loss because I was on that little Chiefs podcast network. They're thinking that Bieniemy and Mahomes and the offense are at odds.
At odds? Oh, okay. Well, that'll
change things. I said that they look different when my friend asked me, "What do you think happened?" I was like, "I don't know what happened at halftime, but like they just look different." Then when he sent me that link, apparently an argument broke out between the offense and Bieniemy, and not saying that there was blows, not saying any of that, but I'm just intrigued. I'm wondering on how, because remember there was that inconsistency thing last year, the season with the Chiefs offense. Like I'm wondering if those are kind of like the wrinkles of things to come, maybe, unless some ideas
Got
get
you.
switched.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
just a thought with the Chiefs.
yeah. I mean, the Bengals had their number twice in the second half, right? So I wonder if that had something to do with it. We got a comment that says, "Don't sleep on the Chargers." I'm not. I just don't think the Chargers are there yet. I think they're very, very good, but I think that the Chargers are a team that's learning how to win. But they haven't. I think if the Chargers would have actually beaten the Raiders in that what amounted to be a playoff game for them, I think the Chargers are like, I think they accelerate their development, right? If they win a game like that.
I mean, you got to not go for it in your own territory, like 1-30.
Yeah,
that's kind of where, like, I get it. Brandon Staley's a risk taker, but even there are some moments, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll just stop there. Jaime, who you've met a couple of times, he'll go in on Brandon Staley. He completely blames the whole season on one person, and that's Brandon Staley.
Well, I want to give you my thoughts on buying and trading away the farm for Super Bowl aspirations. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of it. I think that's where the Cowboys should be at. Because we've been drafting for a long time, and we ain't been there yet. And it's clear that those kind of trades can give you a boost very quickly. Mm-hmm. Look no further than the Rams. Look no further than the Bucks. And even the Chiefs to some extent. Once they went and got Melvin Ingram, like, their defense turned around. So I'm not saying that you need to go and get a Jalen Ramsey and an Odell Beckham Jr. and a Matthew Stafford. But I'm saying, like, when those dudes come on the market and you have a chance to go get them, you got to stop like, we'll find our guy in the draft, because you might not always find those dudes. Like, I like the idea of going to get the proven commodity where you're like, all right, this is a glaring need. There's a guy that's unhappy somewhere, or there's a team that's trying to offload a dude. Sometimes you just need that change of scenery, right? And, I feel like if you knew that Von Miller was coming around, like, I don't know, maybe not this year, but, in the past, all those kind of things, like, maybe you actually go get you a veteran. I'm not talking about going and getting Everson Griffin or whatever after he's out of contract and nobody wants him no more. I'm talking about go use your second round pick, use that one first round pick one time, and, like, just go for it. And if it don't work out, then all right, it doesn't work out. But I'm thinking, like, the Chiefs bet the farm on Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs had one first round pick in, like, the last 6 years. The Chiefs are doing all right. They're doing A-okay. So when you see guys like that, I feel like you should really go and look at it. Splash the cash. A 1-year deal doesn't hurt your organization like a 7-year, $80 million contract does. So that's why I feel like with the Broncos, like, yeah, you gave away 2 first rounders and 2 second rounders, but you got probably a Hall of Fame quarterback out of it. And if you're worried about going to get receivers now, like I said, I feel like receivers kind of just grow on trees these days. And you drafted a very good corner. And if you can find you a couple more pieces, I mean, they're even talking about going to getting Von Miller back.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you can go do that, like,
yeah, hey, I'm back, bro.
Yeah, why not?
Here we go. Run it back.
Why not?
I do find that interesting because I don't think you're wrong at all. I do think that I will like to give credit to what's his name? Les Snead. Is that the GM of the Rams? I mean, I will say that they went out and got those splashes, but they did it to complement the guys that they in fact drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them,
Yeah.
but like Aaron Donald, that was a draft piece, and that was back in the Jeff Fisher era. So
Right.
that
So
was
you
a
get the
draft
Aaron
piece that
Donald,
was-
you go get Von Miller, and you go get Ndamukong Suh, and you're just like, look, run on us, please.
and they got to the Super Bowl. They lost, but they got to the Super Bowl and against the Patriots. You know what I mean? Like they made that move, and the Bucks, they weren't a bad team. It was just Winston throwing 30 picks. That 9-7 team is easily, I think, 11-5 if Winston doesn't throw 30 interceptions. So you just bring in Tom Brady, bro. Look, they're good. I don't think we do that because I don't even know if we know what we want. Remember, same example I always say. This is the same team that took Taco Charlton over TJ Watt
Mhm.
because of scheme. Because of scheme. Well, I mean, Taco gets down on all three, and he's just a pure D end. Yeah, okay, but are we getting to the quarterback or not? Like you said earlier, are we getting to the quarterback or not? So I
Yeah,
think that's
and we're
something
not.
where I think we need to figure out what we want to do. I think that's why our big splashes rarely work. Cooper worked because Cooper was good, and we needed that in 2018. We didn't have a receiver,
Mhm.
But like you said, I just think it's like a mixed answer. But I will give credit to the Broncos because I don't feel like they're losing anybody. They're getting, like you said, a QB. They already have pieces. If you can bring Von Miller back, how much did you really lose in that trade? I can't find really much of anything that you lost. They're probably going to go draft another tight end because, like we just said,
Yep.
they'll probably find one. Like, no offense and no fan, but like, hey, good luck in Seattle, man. But like, you were kind of what enticed the trade or whatever what was said.
Yeah.
So I just think those splashes made sense, and I don't know. Like the Jaguars couldn't make a splash. Who's going to go there?
No, nobody. Yeah.
Yeah.
But remember when the Jags got good though? Where they get all them dudes from? They didn't get them from the draft.
It was a mixed bag. There's a couple, right?
Yeah, I mean they got a few of
drafted.
them for him, but then they went in free agency and threw some money around, brought some dudes in.
I like it. I like what Denver did, and I'm with it.
Yeah, I mean I think we're still saying different things here. Like we're not talking about whether we should pay Cooper or not. You already paid him, and he's over the last 3 years he's been your most productive receiver. So,
The question is, does Realism Sport Talk, I don't know his name, forgive me, sir, but like, do you keep him or not? Not if you pay him, because we could just keep him.
Yeah, he's already here.
He's already on the roster. We just have to just keep him. And if you want to let him walk, it's his last year, right? So if you hypothetically want to let him walk after this year, maybe I'm okay with that too.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's a crime. Somebody should call the cops if we're just cutting this.
We're also cutting punters, by the way. Anger's not coming back.
And we're keeping Zerline. That was chosen. I saw that. That was chosen. They felt the value was Zerline over Anger, which I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know.
I don't either.
But what was that stat? We lost like, I don't know how many points, one possession points, and all of them was like Zerline leaving multiple field goals off the board. Whatever. Cut the punter, right?
Yeah. Cut your best special teams. Your best special teams, dude. I mean, I feel like the Cowboys are navigating this cap as if they're the Saints, and they're just like $75 million over the cap.
You got to go it somewhere. Trim the fat, right?
Yeah, it's like you're not that much over the cap. This ain't cap hell. Like everybody's dealing with that kind of cap problem. You're not having to let Drew Brees walk because you ain't got no money. We're not that broke.
And they successfully restructured Dax and Zach Martin. So there's been progress.
Well, I think Dak already had 2 voidable years in his contract anyway. So I think that was the plan from the beginning. As soon as he signed, was like, yeah, we're restructuring you in
year 2
2 years or whatever. But I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what the right thing to do here is. I do think if the Cowboys are going to go draft another receiver, I think they got to go with somebody who can actually just take the top off the defense. Somebody that can run after the catch. Somebody that's electric. And I know like that's supposed to be CeeDee Lamb.
Or maybe they think that's Gallup. Because he literally only run like what if we know he only runs nines? What if they're literally taking that definition?
Maybe. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I need somebody. I want somebody who can take a smoke screen and bust it for 50.
Yeah.
I need somebody who can run a 3-yard drag route and hit it up the sideline and just go. And if that means pray that Jameson Williams is there at 24 or whatever, or
maybe
round 2.
Maybe we snag up one of these receivers that ran like a freaking sub 4.35. Jesus. You see all these freaking fast dudes?
Yeah, I'm shoot. I mean, and that's what I didn't watch the combine, but I kept seeing like all the things about all these people running these sub 4.3s and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it just reinforces that, like, look, when you get to this level, everybody's fast. Everybody's fast.
That they're distinctively getting faster though. Like That's always been true, but they are getting. I mean, look at the big men. Like they're getting faster. So, I mean, I don't know. I might be okay with that too. Whatever. Maybe I'll sleep at night if you want to cut Cooper, save what is it, 20 million,
16.
And if you go 16, and if you maybe. But then that makes me mad too, because now what? Are you saying you're going to spend a first round or second round pick on a receiver now? We have glaring holes elsewhere.
Yeah, I feel like you might end up having glaring holes like on the offense, just in general. Like I think you're going to end up going from having what was thought to be one of the best receiving cores in the league to having one guy who might be electric and then like a bunch of mediocre receivers, no offensive line. And dude, Justin, they've been throwing stuff at the wall hoping it sticks since 2004. Ain't nothing sticking.
Bro. Since him and Jimmy parted ways.
Bro, it ain't. And I don't know. This is the whole reason we ended up having this show today. Like I said, we weren't supposed to have a show today. I was sitting in the car picking up my daughter from daycare, and I was like, dude, the Cowboys have been on my mind all day, and I'm actually just kind of mad about it. I'm just over it. I wanted to go away. I'm ready for college to start back up. like they've already.
Me too. I said that at work. They were laughing at me, playfully about the Cooper thing, and I was like, you know what? I watch Bama football now. Come at me in the national championship, bro. It feels so good to be that type of to spit that type of comeback.
Yeah. Well, so last thing before we go, let's talk about the Packers because Devontae Adams wants $30 million, and Aaron Rodgers was going to leave until they told him we'll give you $200 million over 4 years.
Is that true? Because I heard that wasn't.
Numbers. Is that wasn't the one accurate?
Well, I know Rappaport said that. It isn't Schefter. I know Schefter is the one that jumps the gun, but it was Rappaport. And I know Pat McAfee and Aaron Rodgers came out and said the numbers haven't been. There's no details yet, but I am staying in Green Bay. Regardless, whatever, right? We're probably just splitting pennies here now. But he's staying in Green Bay from
Justin Riley said he's anti-Cowboy ever since they cut my boy Bo Scarborough. Well, you know, I'm sorry about that. I wanted him to stick around too. Yeah, but Rappaport, I mean, I don't know. This is the only numbers I got. Rappaport saying that he's getting 153 million guaranteed, and his cap number goes down. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could.
I feel like though, here's what I really here's my real feelings on Aaron Rodgers. If he's saying that number isn't accurate, that means it's more money. It ain't less money. That means it's like 250.
Jeez, dude.
Highest paid, saying he's the highest paid player in NFL history. Well, I mean, at least it ain't Kirk Cousins no more, because that was robbery.
Poor Mike Zimmer. He was the victim in that whole operation.
Although I gotta give Kirk Cousins credit where it's due. He took his money and he made sure his contract was fully guaranteed. And I think more players should do that. Even if it's less money overall, if you know you're going to get all of it. I think that's the better business move. And the more players that do that, the more the way these contracts work changes, because they're going to get all their money. So
I'm with that. Yep.
So at that point, I'm also at the point now where, even with Tank, when they're offering Tank, say, hey, take less money or be cut. Even as the Cowboys fan, I would say, Tank, don't you dare take less money, because they was gonna cut you anyway. So, just tell them to cut you and let you move on, because you might end up like Amari and turn down a whole bunch of money to stay with the team that you want to play with, and then they end up getting rid of you anyway. So
yeah,
get it while you can.
I tried to search Devontae Adams, and all I'm seeing is people just believing he's going to Las Vegas. I didn't even know that was a rumor.
Oh, I didn't either.
That's
they put the ESPN is saying that they've already used the franchise tag on him.
Yeah, I know. I was just seeing people saying he bought a home, and it's like, oh god,
land is cheap out there though. So I'm sure he got this Bellagio-sized mansion out there in the desert for $6 and a cheeseburger.
Well, while we've been on, apparently, now that I'm just here, Harold Landry has gotten his extension.
Who?
For Tennessee, outside linebacker.
Oh.
$87.5 million with $52.5 guaranteed.
Not bad.
That's your pro team. I think the Titans. That's a Alabama NFL.
Yep, them and the Ravens.
Yeah. I'm with it.
Well, I think we covered everything we were going to get to. I know we're ending technically 10 minutes early, but we also started 15 minutes early. And we're going to come back and do this again tomorrow. So for everybody's here, I'll reiterate, we're going to be talking some Calvin Ridley and a little bit of that situation tomorrow. My dad will be back. And then we have the actual scheduled podcast on Wednesday with Wimp Sanderson. Oh, Tyler Simmons, look at him. He's in the chat. Houses may be cheap, but all the cost to buy food and other items are going to be expensive. Feel like Devontae Adams ain't worried about that. But at the same time, though, he lives in Green Bay, where housing is certainly also cheap. So, who knows? Who knows with him? But hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:00 for sure. I still don't actually know when we're gonna do our little special bonus episode. We're either sometime between 7 and 8, I think. But yeah, we appreciate you coming out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit a thumbs up. If there's anything, argue about it in the comments. If you want to really talk about Amari Cooper, the engagement helps the algorithm. So help us out on that. And anybody that's been looking for our podcast on Apple Podcasts, I just found out like on Saturday that it's not there. So that's awkward. I'm fixing it. My dad didn't seem to be too concerned with it, but I was. So there's that too. But again, we appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. And how can you get on? How can you get on what? We can take questions. Like we just chilling. So if anybody got something to say, like I'm here. We here. So this how can I get on? What are we talking about? You talking about like on the show, or are you talking about where can you find us at? Because we're gonna be right back here tomorrow. 23 hours. We'll be right here. I'll be in this room, just as hungry as I am now.
Maybe a little early.
Yes, actually, definitely a little bit early. Now, Wimp Sanderson is actually going to be a call-in guest, so he won't be on the screen with us. But appreciate it, Justin. He won't be on the screen with us, but Wimp Sanderson is not one of the young guys anymore. So yeah, if you wanna join in, like I said, we will be right back here for you to watch. I think you got contact information of my dad. So if you want to set something up for you to be on our show, I know my dad's been on your show before. Let him know. Hit the bell button, and appreciate you subscribing to everything. Even if you don't actually listen to the podcast, just download it. And I love a good debate. We gotta set something up on that one. That's
JT loves debating.
That's what we do here. Just less like First Take and Undisputed.
More classy.
Yeah, more classy. Less hyperbole and
gets extra classy over a couple of beers at the Growler, if I do say so myself.
That is true. One of these days we probably should just go to the Growler.
We should. I
feel also, like those are not a sponsor. Could be.
Hey,
not a sponsor, but could be. I don't know. I'll talk to Mike about that.
Well, hey, appreciate it, JT, and everybody listening. Always like being on here, so appreciate it. Thanks, Justin, for catching in. We're looking forward to some Alabama stuff this year.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you catch Justin Riley's show, The Bama Standard, Tuesdays at 6 Central. They have a great time over there. Like, you want to just, like, sit and laugh for a while. Like, them dude, they a lot of times, they for somebody like me, I like to get into the weeds and the numbers and things like that and talk about scheme and things like we do. And they're just cracking jokes the whole time. So, they got one of the few shows that I'll actually sit down and like laugh out loud at because they be acting a fool over there. So, check them out too. And expect more content from us. I'm going to I'm calling anybody that's left in here. If y'all know where I can find, like college tape, like film, that maybe is not necessary. If it's the broadcast, that's fine. But if there's a way that I can like get my hands on some college tape, because we do want to do some like film breakdowns and things like that. I just don't know where to get it at. And we used to be able to do NFL breakdowns with their film, except NFL Game Pass. I don't know if you've been on it recently, but it sucks.
They took away the 22?
Dude. All right.
Oh man. See, sorry, I didn't know.
Nah, let me just give you the quick rundown. They have it. Well, they used to. they used to say that they would turn around the game film in 24 hours and it'd be uploaded on there in 24 hours. Well, that's not always the case. Sometimes games don't show up until 2 weeks later, like a legit 2 weeks later. Then you can go back and watch the game film from 2 weeks ago. And they also have it to where things like if like on YouTube, when you hover over the thing, you put your cursor over the thing and you try to hit the plus button and like real quickly, all the stuff around it goes away so you can watch it. Not on Game Pass. Game Pass, it's like it has a full filter over the play for like 5 seconds. And you used to be able to like search where like if I wanted to pull clips of every time, CeeDee Lamb scored a touchdown, I used to be able to search and like just pull all the clips of CeeDee Lamb scoring touchdowns. Can't do that anymore. There's no more search. Like, so I really think that the NFL has done this specifically to stop people like streaming and being able to do that kind of stuff anymore. But I've heard that the European version still allows you to do that stuff, but it doesn't happen in the US. So, do with that information as you will. But all right, for sure. I'm cutting it off here. I appreciate it. I'm gonna roll the outro. See you guys tomorrow.